Hey, Will.
Can't hear you. Hold on one second.
We should be able to hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Will, how's it going?
Good morning.
Good. How are you?
We're very tired, but very good. Happy to have you.
I am delighted to be here. I'm sorry that I had to not come in on Tuesday, but it turned out that I had to do voiceover looping for Eureka.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's okay. We understand. You're a busy man. We're glad you could call in today, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that it all worked out. And congratulations. I was watching last night as you were nearing $250,000 and then just blew it away. I'm so proud of you guys.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah, we look at that number constantly and cannot quite fathom what it means, but
Well, it means that you and gamers are awesome.
it's true. Gamers
It's
are
true.
pretty sweet. So, of course, we have questions from you, from our fans. They wish to know, and we'll start it off. We'll just get right into this.
Okay.
What is your stance on erotic Star Trek fan fiction?
Am I involved in it?
If you are, what is your stance?
Does that change your stance?
Yeah, does that change your stance, I suppose?
Yeah, as long as I'm the dude, I'm totally fine.
Good answer. That's probably the best answer.
That is the best answer.
We were looking
What-
forward to that.
What about if you get turned into an animal of some kind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I could be like a Klingon Targ, you know, from home when Worf was a boy.
All right.
Went straight
Yeah.
into really
Yeah.
weird territory.
I sort of feel like we've backed ourselves into an incredibly uncomfortable corner.
I'm glad we started it off right then.
We can just dig up for the rest of the conversation.
And then another thing that we're going to ask you, we'll wait till the end, but we had a challenge come in this year. For every fact we collect from our guests, we get $5.
Awesome.
So at some point, we will need to get a fact from you. It can be anything. It can be about animals. It can be about you. It can be anything you want. All right. So you can.
I would. Can I give you 5 facts?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fact number 1.
You writing this down?
I am now.
Ready? Are you ready?
Ready.
Fact number 1. My wife is lactose intolerant.
All right.
Fact number 2. My first computer was a Texas Instruments TI-99-4A.
Nice.
Fact number 3. In my spare time, I brew my own beer. Fact number 4. I am wearing my pajamas and have put on a hat so it appears as though I've actually been awake for more than a half an hour.
That is a good idea. Yeah. I never thought about that. You speak like a man who has had a lot of video conference experience.
Fact number 4. I have 2 projects that will be released in 2012 that are so unbelievably awesome. You will say to yourself and the person next to you, he wasn't lying about that. These are awesome projects.
All right.
And fact number 5.
6, actually. You've already given us 5.
Oh, really? Bonus fact. There's a pumpkin sitting just on the other side of my computer.
Wow.
All right.
How old is this? Oh, well, there it is.
Oh, hold on. Oh, we missed
Oh,
it.
we
Can you
missed
show
it.
us again, Will? Nice.
It's pumpkin time.
Pumpkin time. All right. Well, that was a lot of facts. We appreciate that.
I'm happy to provide you with facts.
All right. So maybe some serious questions now.
Maybe.
How did you originally get to be involved with Mike and Jerry from Penny Arcade?
I've been reading Penny Arcade for a very long time. I don't even remember when I started. It's one of those things that's just kind of like part of my life. And Robert asked me if I would keynote the PAX in '07. Did I really say the PAX?
Yes, you did.
This is how old I've become. I start putting the in front of things. So I keynoted PAX in 2007, and we became very good friends sort of out of that. And then I listened to their first D&D podcast, during, I had, for some reason, I was driving back and forth between LA and San Diego a lot when they did that. And I was listening to the podcast, and then I saw them at Comic-Con that year. And I just said, hey, look, if you think maybe I could be part of this, I would love to be. And they both seemed sort of surprised that I wanted to do that, and they brought me on board, and we've been pretty good friends ever since.
Awesome.
So, like mini friendships born out of D&D.
Yes.
Yes, born out of D&D and gaming.
Awesome. Are there any plans to make more episodes of Radio Free Burrito?
I'd really like to. I have a new office. And my new office has hardwood floors and an aquarium in it, and it's kind of loud. So I have to like get all of my gear up and move to another room in the house. And that means I have to take my external hard drive that has all of my music and stuff on it. In other words, it's a big pain in the ass. And I've been so busy this last year that I just haven't had time to do it. But I miss doing it as much as people miss listening to it. And it's been so long now that it's sort of like that need I feel as an artist to make something unbelievable that's worth the 1 year wait is kind of paralyzing me into inaction. I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yes. Somebody in the chat was actually wondering, was it you in the costume during the entire during the guild this year?
No.
No.
No, I was only in there for the one day when the costume, when the head falls off. Spoiler alert.
Yes. Do you find it amusing how sometimes your cast is a jerk?
I actually really like that. One of the main reasons we are actors is because we like to be creative, we like to use our imaginations, and we sort of like to pretend. And I work real hard in my real life to be a good, honest, honorable, kind person. And getting to be everything that I despise in a character is actually a great deal of fun. And it's always more fun to be a villain than it is to be a hero. Especially since Bill Prady once pointed out to me that the villain is the hero of his own narrative. So getting to be the villain and just embrace all of this stuff that I just find awful is really a lot of fun.
Awesome. So in the last episode you were in of Big Bang Theory, you were actually kind of nice.
Yes.
Did you have anything to do with that?
No, but as I was reading the script, I kept expecting. I just kept thinking, oh, the other shoe's gonna drop.
Yeah.
So what's coming next? And I was actually talking to Melissa Rock, who plays Bernadette, and she said, "I don't know if I like this, that you're nice to him now." And she said, "Yeah, I was just sort of waiting to see, I thought it was all a setup, and then on the last page, something terrible was going to happen." And when the taping of that episode was over, Bill Prady and Steve Milaro said, "So it looks like you guys are friends now." And Bill said, "Yeah, and if you thought the hell that you were in when he didn't like you was bad, wait until you see the hell that you're in because he thinks you're his best friend." And I said, I was kind of hoping that evil Wil Wheaton is really setting up the long con. And they both looked at each other like, oh, we hadn't thought of that. So I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just, I'm really grateful that I've been able to play that character. And whenever I get to go to the set and work with those guys, it is always a good week for me.
Where's another good one here? Somebody is asking is there a date when I expect Memories of the Future Volume 2 by? Even if it's just a really general one.
Sometime between now and the heat death of the universe is probably a safe bet.
There you go.
I was really hoping that I was going to get it finished before the end of this year. But then these two big super secret projects came up, and they've taken all of my time. And I haven't been able to work on it as much as I would like to. I'd say I'm probably about 60% done with it. Done with the first draft, and then I'll give it to my editor, and we'll go through and we'll polish it and sort of get it out the door. I think that it's I would one of the reasons I don't really announce release dates is because I get super busy and things just, they get released when they get released. At this point, I'm really hoping that it will be out by spring.
Okay. We were talking about the D&D podcast just a couple minutes ago, and somebody was wondering, is there any plans to do more of those sort of the old way, without the audience, just at Penny Arcade, just you guys sitting around the table?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that all of us are really into that, however they want to do it. But it's kind of complicated. We have to go with, we've sort of partnered with Wizards of the Coast for all of that. And I know that what we do has to fit into how Wizards is marketing, and there's a lot of like businessy things that go on that sort of make my eyes glaze over. So I don't really pay attention to it. I think that we all get the most bang for our buck when we do it in front of an audience. It gives us an opportunity to really perform and do something really theatrical. But I think that this question comes from a place, comes from someone who is mindful that there is a big difference between us being on stage performing to that audience in the theater and us being at a table, really like playing the game. I get that those are two very different experiences. I love them both for very different reasons, and I'll just kind of do whatever whatever we can do so that we can keep playing.
Okay. Besides Wheaton's Law, do you have any other favorite laws of the internet?
That's a really good question. What are other laws of the internet?
Well, the two that they quote here is Rule 34, and I hope that is not one of them.
I'm pretty sure that we invoked Rule 34 in the first 60 seconds of our conversation.
I believe we did. And they also quote Godwin's Law.
Yeah, those are really good laws. Yep. I am delighted that I'm delightful. I am also delighted that Wheaton's Law has kind of made it into the language and made it into the culture. And I hope that that it continues to make its inroads and that people really embrace it and use it, live it by example, as opposed to being, I want people to be proactive with it. Like, I choose not to be a dick, rather than using it in a reactive sense, saying to someone else, hey man, stop being a dick. And I think that will make the internet a more cat-filled and Rule 34-filled kind of place. And speaking of all of this, Americans, you really, really need to contact your Congress idiots and make sure that they know that you do not want SOPA and Protect IP passed. It will ruin the internet as we know it if that happens.
We discovered a new rule, I believe, this year at Desert Bus, which is, I think the chat dubbed it 34.1, whereas if there's any song, there is a dubstep remix of it.
Oh, God.
And they will make us perform it every single one.
Which one of you does that thing where you just go, whoa, 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 where it doesn't really fit in the song, but you just keep doing it?
Yeah, that's Ian and all of us.
So, you done the dubstep version of The Wheels on the Bus?
Yes.
Have we?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of many.
We have. Dear Dr. Will, if life had gone different after Next Generation and you would have become a big Hollywood actor, do you think you would have had the same interaction with your fans and geek culture in general?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think that there are, there's sort of a career and a life trajectory, and mine was really different, and I'm really happy with the way that it led me to where I am today. One of the main reasons, I talked about this in my book Just a Geek, and I've discussed this sort of when I've done some public speaking, but one of the big reasons that I went to work for New Tech in the Midwest when I was 18 and had just left Star Trek was because I kind of felt this thing starting in me where I was sort of like, I was kind of getting like involved in like the lame bullshit of Hollywood. You know, I was never, I was always a real geek at heart. So I was never like going to parties. I was never like, you know, engaged in all of the like risky behavior that kind of that ruined Corey Feldman's life and claimed River Phoenix's life. Like that was never part of my life. But that like, I don't know, I felt that like, don't you know who I am kind of thing starting to well up inside of me when I was around that age. And it appalled me. And it was really, and I thought there's something really wrong with me. And I remember writing in a diary at the time. A diary is kind of like a blog before a blog existed and no one reads it but you, which is sort of like a blog today, except it was in a book. And I wrote down that I was looking in the mirror and I didn't like the person that I saw. And I felt like I needed to get away from everything that I had known and the industry that I was in and kind of figure out what was really important to me. And in doing that, I sort of pulled all the momentum out of my acting career, which had me on a trajectory that you know, was, I don't know if I would have been like a big super mega star, but I was definitely on my way to being a successful, steadily employed actor. And then it sort of pulled me in a different direction. And then when I worked all of that stuff out, I figured out that I really loved being an actor, I really loved being creative. I came back to LA. I went to acting school. I was in a 5-year drama program. And then I met my wife and my future kids. And those things fundamentally changed my life and really made me the person that I am today. So I'm, I think that, you know, there's people who really believe their own hype. And if my career had gone in a different way, I think it's really possible that I would have been one of those people. But going the way that I did go, working on my craft as an actor, and then working on being a husband and father, it just sort of keeps my feet on the ground. And it also helps a lot, I think, that like nerds are awesome. You know, we can all get together and play games. When I go to game cons and I sit down to play games, I'll play with people for 3 hours. And then when it's done, and no one will be weird to me at all. And then when it's done, someone will say, oh, by the way, I like this thing that you did. Instead of it being like, oh, you're that guy from TV and now we're going to be weird. And I think that just because we are all really normal people in our weird, nerdy way, as opposed to those like, you know, people who are like fans of reality TV or whatever, it makes me feel welcomed and embraced, and it just makes it easy for me to feel like, yeah, I can hang out.
Awesome. Speaking of reality TV, if Dancing with the Stars gave you a call today, would you say yes or no?
I would say no.
Good answer. you made one person here very good.
It's so weird. I don't know what it is about that show. People viewers are crazy about it, and viewers was, oh, I would really love to see you on this show. But within the business side of the entertainment industry, it's sort of like, well, you may as well just admit that your career's over, and it does not appeal to me at all. And I don't, look, for people who really love that show, awesome, good for you. I'm glad you enjoy it. But it is not right for me at all.
All right. This gentleman's wife would like to know, was it strange playing a rapist in Criminal Minds?
Super strange. Yeah. Really, it was, that was unbelievably challenging. Robin Lively played the girl who was my victim, and Robin and I have known each other since we were kids. And everybody who knew her when we were younger had a huge crush on her, myself included. And it was really weird and really uncomfortable. I wrote, you can go to my blog and find the Criminal Minds production diary, or you can buy it in my book, Sunken Treasure. I wrote all about this. I wrote all about the experience of creating that character and how uncomfortable and weird it was. No matter what show I am working on, there is a little piece of a character who lives in me the whole time I'm working on the show. And I can't let that go completely until the show is over. And on Criminal Minds, there was just a little bit of that dark evil that stayed with me. And, it's sort of like it was sort of like a hot coal that I kept in a bag that I would blow into fire when I would go onto the set, and I could not wait to take that hot coal and just dump it in a well and never look at it again.
All right. Dear Will, I'm lucky enough to have one of your PAX 2009 chapbooks, and I was wondering if you ever planned to continue the day after. It's one of the best zombie stories I've ever read, and I would love more.
That's extremely kind. Thank you. A lot of people have asked me to extend the day after. A lot of people have asked me to extend Hunter. And I never intended to extend them when I wrote them. I mean, they're just where they are. They are intended to be slightly unresolved at the end so that maybe they continue on in the reader's mind. They're both stories where the characters are unresolved, so I thought that the arc of the story should remain unresolved. I don't really know what I would do with the day after. It's something that I've thought of because so many people have asked me to do it, which is really, which makes me feel really good because I was scared to death to publish that story because I just thought, man, it's one thing to tell stories about my real life, and it's another thing to like make a story up and like take a chance and put it out there. And you know, I wrote on my blog last week, every time I do it, I'm afraid that like I can hear Carrie's mom in my head going, "They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you," and it's really gratifying to me that so many people liked it. I don't have any plans right now to extend it, but so many people have asked me to that. Every now and then my mind kind of wanders and I think, well, maybe I could do this.
All right. Okay, I got a couple more short questions and I'll let you get back to your wacky November Thanksgiving.
I know, isn't that weird?
Weird. What's up with that? What are your favorite games to play if you only have 15 minutes?
Dungeon Raid, Ascension, Button Men if I'm playing with my son, and like back in the old days, I could always count on a quick game of like RC Pro-Am or NHL 94, you know, with 5-minute periods.
Yeah. NHL 94 was the best NHL too. That one was.
Okay, so I found a store. I went with after when I was doing my looping for Eureka on Tuesday when I was supposed to call in. Felicia was looping right before me, so I only had 2 lines. So she said, "I'll just hang out, and then we can because we haven't seen each other in a couple of weeks." So I said, "Yeah, just hang out. I'll do my 2 lines, and then we'll catch up on everything." So I did my 2 lines. I came out, and she said, "Hey, Sean Becker and I are going to this store in the Valley called Game Dude." And I said, "Ooh, Game Dude, what's that?" And she said, "It's like a warehouse full of classic video games. It's Genesis games, Master System, Neo Geo, Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, and then modern games as well." And I was so excited that, of course, I went. And they sell all of these old consoles that have been refurbished, that work, and then they sell all the games. And one of the most expensive games, and as far as I could tell, the most expensive sports title was NHL 94, because that's the one that everybody wants to play.
It's legit.
In fact, I almost spent $80 on an old Sega Genesis so that I could buy it and get NHL 94 and just play it by myself.
How much were they selling NHL 94 for?
The Genesis version was pretty inexpensive. It was only like $4. But a lot of the games on like Nintendo were really expensive because I guess they're highly prized by collectors. But they were selling. For some reason, they were selling NHL 97 on Genesis, which is okay, but it's not as good as 94, for like $15. And keep in mind that the average price of a game in this place is like 50 to 75 cents.
I was like, because if you were going to say like a couple $100, I was like, man, I think I got NHL 94.
Yeah. Dear Dr. Wheaton, I've always wanted to know if the Star Trek The Next Generation cast still meets at times and how your relationship, or was as it might be, with each other is.
We get together. We get together at least once a year. Somebody has a dinner. Usually it's LeVar. We see each other at conventions. We talk via email and on the phone, and we're as close and as important to each other as we ever were. You know, I said to Jonathan when like years ago, you know, I said, listen, the way I remember it, like we're all really good friends and we all really loved each other and we were really like a family. Is that true? Like, is that really the way that we were? And he said, yeah, it really was. It was very much like catching lightning in a bottle. And I don't know of any other casts that worked together almost 25 years ago, who still get together, who still care about each other, who still talk all the time. Just not because like, oh, there's a reunion thing we have to go to, but because we genuinely like each other. And it's weird for me too, because they just, you know, like they're already all adults, but I actually changed from being a kid growing into an adult. So my whole perspective on things is really different. And what's great is we can get together and I can ask about things from when we were doing the show because, you know, I see things through the eyes of a teenager and I can get a more objective, different perspective on things from them.
Awesome. All right, to finish us off, who is your doctor?
That's a tough one, man. Like, I think your doctor, oh, by the way, this is my cat, my son's cat, Luna. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi, I'm a cat, and I'm coming in here and walking around all over the table. And pretty soon, if you put your fingers on the keyboard, I'm going to walk all over them, too. That's what I do, because I'm a cat.
Well, you can make a lot of money off that
was
talking cat.
That was like one of your tweets come to life. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was hoping Seamus would come in here so everyone could see the adorability that is my dog, but he is zonked out on the couch and not even remotely interested in getting up. So here's what I think about like your doctor. Your doctor is always the first doctor that you see. You can't help it. That's the doctor who like introduces you to Doctor Who, and he's that guy that carries you through all of the different stories. So for me, my doctor would be Tom Baker, because I started watching Doctor Who on PBS when I wasn't even 10 years old, and it was weird, and it scared me. Because it was like, you know, back in those days, kids, we would have this thing called UHF, and it was an antenna that sat on top of your television, and it never really came in very well, and it was always kind of fuzzy and strange, and it added this element of like weirdness to anything that you watched on UHF. So like Doctor Who, Dark Shadows, The Prisoner, those are all like British shows that I would watch on UHF, and it terrified me. Having said all of that, and having sworn fealty to Tom Baker, Tennant's my favorite. I think a lot of that has to do with the writing of a lot of the episodes that he was in, and I absolutely love Matt Smith's take on the character as well. It's kind of like, you know, there's so many things that we nerds get into holy wars about. And like whose doctor is the best doctor, I think is one of the least productive. So Tom Baker is my doctor for the reasons stated above, but Tennant's the one that I use to introduce people to Doctor Who. I tell people to watch Blink and Girl in the Fireplace, and if they can't get if those two episodes don't grab them, then they're never gonna like the new Doctor Who. But I also think that what Matt Smith's doing is absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely. All right, thank you so much, Will, for calling in.
Yeah, it's entirely my pleasure. I am not going to see you guys at Child's Play dinner. I'm super sad. I'm actually working on one of the super secret projects that day, and I can't leave.
Tell us about that.
But have a great time.
We will.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for calling in. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, right on. Congratulations. I am hoping that you make it up to $400,000. It's my dog Riley on the other side of the computer. The internet. Stop.
All right, thanks, Will.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Happy
And let my
Thanksgiving.
dad go so he can feed me.
Perfect. All right, have a good day, Will.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, Will.
Bye, Will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.